Hello, everyone. How are you? Hey, you know what happened on LA Brea, episode 8 and episode 9 of season 2? Um, they did a 2-hour event, but unfortunately, the TV station I get on, I was not staying up to like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to watch this 2-hour event. So I watched episode 8 a couple nights ago. I just watched episode 9 last night. So here's the recap of what happened. Quick recap how episode 7 ended was Gavin and his family jumping into the sinkhole to return to 10,000 BC to upload the computer virus to destroy the portal that Gavin's father James is using, because they find out that every time James uses that portal to travel back and forth in time, that's what's causing the sinkholes to happen around the world. So the episode, oh yes, and Levi decided to stay in 1988 because he was done being Eve's love affair person over Gavin to get back at him and all that for the years of mistreating her and stuff like that. And she was two-time at both of them. He had enough of it. So he stayed in 1988. The show opened up with Gavin and his family landing together, but Joss isn't with them. And sometimes, like Gavin says, sometimes when you enter the sinkhole, people get separated. It happens. So Joss could be miles away. He could be back at camp. And that's where Joss landed. He landed back at the campsite. So Gavin and them decided to go ahead with the plan to upload the computer virus in the tower to destroy the portal. And along the way of doing that, Sam and Riley start having second thoughts, because Sam's like, if we do this, we're stuck here for good. We can never go back home to see our family and loved ones and friends. And Gavin's like, you know the risk. And Sam's like, I know. He asks Caroline, Gavin's mother, that was also a fellow scientist, one of the 12 that worked on the Lazarus Project and built the tower. And she's also one of the scientists that rebelled against what James was doing because the methods were too violent to get the answers. And she says, you don't want to know the stuff he did to get where he's at today. So she says, I'm doing this for vengeance, but I'm also doing this to save the world, because no more sinkholes. So Sam and Roddy continues on with the mission. They have to separate at the tower location to activate the virus in 2 different computer terminals. So Gavin and Izzy goes to one location, while Sam, Roddy, Eve, and Caroline go to the other. Gavin and Izzy are met with by James, Gavin's father, Izzy's grandfather, and this is the first time he's ever seen Izzy. So he's excited seeing her and all that, his granddaughter, for the very first time. And she goes off with him so he can show her around the tower as a distraction, so Gavin can upload the virus. While Gavin uploads the virus, this assistant of James knows something's going on. She knows something's up. So she confronts Gavin. He tells her the truth of what they're doing. She sets the alarm off. Guards show up and all that. Then as James and Izzy are walking through these corridors, and she's seeing like saber-toothed tigers and tubes. She's seeing like a mammoth in a cage. She sees all these trees and plants. He says that trees and plants can cure cancer, stuff like that. Alzheimer's disease, stuff like that. And she sees this red tree. And that's the same tree with the red flowers that Gavin had a vision of when they jumped back to the sinkhole last year in episode 7, that shows Eve dead under the tree. So Izzy tells James, her grandfather, about the vision and all that. And James said, well, that's interesting. She says, why is that? Because he said this tree is only found in 10,000 BC. It never grew ever since. Something caused the tree to go extinct. It can only be found in caves. That's why this one's in a kind of like a cave location there. So she tells him about the virus, and he says if they destroy that portal, your mom's going to die. Well, we can use that portal to send your mom through, and she'd be safe in a different timeline because the tree will never exist there. But Izzy says, what about the sinkholes? And her grandfather says, that's a risk you got to take. So the alarm goes off. They rush. James knows something's happening. He runs to the main control room. The virus is at 99%. Gavin's got his assistant held hostage. The guards got him surrounded. And Izzy tells Gavin to turn off the virus because of that tree and only grows in 10,000 BC. So Gavin doesn't believe his father at first, because what Caroline told him, he lies all the time to get what he wants. And James said, I'm trying to fix the portal so that it will activate and happen, but it won't cause sinkholes. Then it goes over to Eve and their group, and they're uploading the virus at a different terminal. While Sam tries to destroy the terminal because he feels that it's not right for the other survivors not to be able to go home. So he says, why don't we go back, tell the other survivors they can go through the portal, get back home to the real time. And Caroline says, every time you use the portal, it causes sinkholes. Do you really want to save your group of like 100 people where you could kill thousands and millions up in the real world? In the future. Sorry. So Sam has to change of heart again, goes along with it. And then suddenly the computer virus stops. At 99%, it goes down to 0. Caroline says it's not happening at my station, it's happening at Gavin's. And then they meet up with Gavin and all of them, and Gavin tells them that about the vision, and Eve's shocked because she didn't know. And he says, if I can help Dad fix the portal so it won't cause no more sinkholes, we can send you back to like 2023 time, and you'll be safe. You won't die here. So Gavin's going to help his father fix the portal. Everybody's like, okay. And James says that there was 12 scientists, which we know about. Some are already dead, like 3 or 4 of them. He's the only other scientist that stayed loyal to the project. Every other one rebelled against him and his methods, or other reasons. So Caroline says, what about a certain scientist that she shows in the photograph? And he says, what about him? She says, he helped you build the portal, so maybe he knows of a way to fix it without causing sinkholes. So Gavin and the group go to find the scientist. Maybe he's still alive. We don't know. And Caroline was very good friends with him throughout the years while they were in 10,000 BC working, because she come find out she was his lab assistant before she became a scientist herself. So she knows like where he loved exploring caves. He loved this cliffside edge on this cliff where he built a home in a cave. So she's going to take him there. Maybe that's where he's at. They find the cave, but along the way, they meet back up with the other survivors at the campsite. Well, and then it shows you what happened to the survivors while this was all going on. And what happened with the survivors was a herd of water buffalo was running by the campsite. And they find out that the water buffalo migration path, the campsite's right smack dab in the middle of it. So everybody started freaking out what happened. So Lucas, poor guy, he's still half paralyzed, his body, because of that weapon that the guards use, like those energy batons that when they hit you, it causes like red marks to all go throughout your body and kill you slowly. Well, if you remember, Pablo's husband, the leader of the tribe that's helping them, her husband that's the leader of the exiles, like a savage tribe of people that just kills you for no reason whatsoever, tortures you, stuff like that. He cured Lucas so he could save his own hide, but he didn't cure him all the way. So Lucas is still half paralyzed, his body. Lucas decides Gavin and the main here, they're always taking off. God knows where they're at now. Not knowing that they have gone to 1988 to rescue his mother and stuff like this. So he says, I'm taking over as leader. And everybody in the rest of the camp's like, you know what? Go for it. We believe in you, man. So Lucas decides, well, if we build a wall of fire, the water buffalo have to divert the path. They do that. But as the plan's working and the water buffalo are running in the opposite direction, it rains. Like, what's the timing of that happening, right? But then what happened was a sinkhole happened, and it caused water, fish, like those water, always what have you seen in the ocean there, that goes back and forth, stuff like that. Start coming down because when Gavin only went back to 1988, right, with the portal, that caused a sinkhole to happen. Well, this sinkhole apparently happened in an ocean of water. That's the only explanation of the water and the fish and all that stuff. Well, the flames did. The wild buffalo start coming towards the camp, destroying stuff. So then they decide to start honking the car horns. And the noise distracts the water buffalo, so they again divert the path. So they save the campsite, they save the stampede of water buffalo. Then they're reunited with Gavin and his family. And Gavin, again, starts to take over as leader. Well, Lucas says, no, what? No. We're done with you being leader because you're constantly not telling us half the plan. You're constantly going off with your family, doing God knows what. You just told us you just almost destroyed a portal that could have sent us home and actually purposely stuck us in 10,000 BC without consulting the rest of the group. And then Sam, being Sam because he was against it, joins Lucas's side. So episode 8 ended. Episode 9 starts off with the group of survivors choosing sides. Like, who's going to go with Gavin as leader? Who's going to go with Lucas as leader? Well, Sam, Riley, Scott, Virgil, Veronica and Lily, the sisters, and some other survivors, like they're not even main people. They side with Lucas, while Gavin and his family and a couple other survivors side with Gavin. So Gavin's like, I'll tell you what, you can be the leader, okay? But I'm telling you, you're going to have to make some tough choices. And Gavin says, I'm going to go with my mother, Caroline here. We're going to go find the scientist. We're going to fix the portal. And we're all going to go home. So Lucas lets him go. But then suddenly Riley screams. And Wyatt, a fellow camp survivor, is found dead. Someone stabbed him to death. So Lucas said, fine, go off on your little journey. We'll find out what just happened here. Ty decides to leave Gavin's group and sides with Lucas's group now. And a shocker, Izzy, Gavin's own daughter, she sides with Lucas. That was a shocker for me. Gavin, Caroline, Riley, and Joss and Eve, they go searching for the scientist. And on the way, Eve, being Eve, she goes off on her own ahead of them. And somebody pushes her into a cave. Like a hole in the ground that leads into a bear cave, She's trapped, pinned under a rock. She's screaming for help up above. And while Gavin and them takes a different path, they don't know what's happened. Eve all of a sudden sees these red flowers around her, and there's the red tree in the cave, so she starts freaking out because of the vision. Maybe this is where she's going to die. All of a sudden, this big-ass bear shows up in the cave. She fires a flare gun at it and scares it off the first time. And then it comes back a second time and tries to get at her. And she fires off another flare, but misses it, so she's out of flares now. So she thinks that she's going to die, and as this bear goes to swipe at her, she throws stuff away. And the bear basically changes his direction and goes after what she threw. As he does that, he hits the rock, the bear does, so the rock is loose enough so she can crawl out. The bear takes off down the other side of the cave. She climbs up and gets away. Gavin and Caroline, Riley, and Josh find the cave that the scientist lived in. It's abandoned. They're searching through it, trying to find evidence and maybe some research. And Caroline finds this book. Well, actually, Riley finds it, and Caroline takes it, and it's a whole bunch of notes of how to fix the portal. So the scientist did discover a way to fix it, so it won't cause no more sinkholes. But she decides to hide that evidence from her own son, Gavin, because James has Gavin hook, line, and sinker now with his lies. So she tells Riley, don't say nothing till I fix the portal, then you can tell them. So they leave the cave, and then she says, well, I want to know what happened to my friend. So she said, well, he always loved to go at the edge of this cliff and overlook the ocean and stuff, the water. So they find that cliff, and sure enough, the skeleton remains there. And this is this him, and she pulls his ring off this bony finger, and it's an orange ring. She says that was his ring. Josh finds a key, and they don't know what this key's for. And that shows their journey. Back at camp, Lucas and Scott's trying to find out who killed Wyatt. So, Sam examines the body because he's a medical doctor, and he says he was stabbed. He was stabbed viciously. Like, that was not a merciful kill. Whoever killed him for a reason. So they start talking around camp, find out who knew Wyatt and stuff, and they come across Virgil, the newest member to join the group that, if you remember Virgil, folks, he was held captive by the exiles, him and his group of survivors when they landed down 10,000 BC, separated by the others, and he mysteriously escaped, the only one to escape, and he found this clearing, the campsite, but of course they welcomed him with open arms, and they trusted him. Well, Virgil apparently had an argument with Wyatt over something. And Wyatt stormed off, mad. Virgil said, I didn't kill him. Well, they examine the crime scene, and they find a symbol in the dirt. Scott, if you watch his facial expression, you can tell he knew what that symbol was, but he lied. As Izzy and Ty examine the murder site, they find the murder weapon. They find the knife. They decide to take it back to camp to show Lucas. Along the way, Ty has a nosebleed because his brain tumors cause him to have another episode, like a seizure and that. And Izzy tells him, Ty says, that tower that your grandfather works in, you said they found ways to cure cancer and stuff. And Izzy knows what he's going to ask. She says, don't go there. And Ty says, why? She says, because my grandfather could probably cure you, but there's going to be a catch to it. There always is with him. I could tell that for the first time meeting him. Well, Ty leaves. He goes to the tower to get healed, to see if they can cure this brain tumor that in 2023 the doctor says they can't cure. Izzy returns to the campsite, gives Lucas the weapon, while Lucas still thinks Virgil is the killer because this knife kind of matches a set of knives that Virgil apparently has found while he was out scavenging for supplies. And he says that one of the knives was missing when he found the package of them. Scott finally confesses when Lucas goes to kill Virgil for killing Wyatt. Scott says, Virgil didn't kill Wyatt. I know who did. And they say, how do you know? And Scott says, that symbol in the dirt, that's the symbol of the Exiles tribe. And they're like, how do you know this? And he says, because I'm the one that let the leader of the Exiles go. And Lucas says, what? He says, if I did, you won't be standing here. He's the one that saved you, remember? Cured you. And Lucas says, yeah, I'm still half paralyzed. And Scott says, he tricked me, okay? But he vowed he'd be back for vengeance and kill every single one of us. And it just so happens that that symbol is in the dirt. And then they look over the knife and they pull kind of like a sleeve off the knife handle. And there's the symbol of the Exiles on that knife blade handle. So they let Virgil go. We're going to now worry about these Exiles coming back to get us. And the episode ends with two interesting things. It shows Ty meeting with James. They're talking, and James says, of course I can cure you. I can remove this brain tumor. And Ty says, what's the catch? And James says, you must be talking to my son or Izzy. And Ty says, Izzy. And James says, I'll cure you, but there's a catch. When I want you to do something, you must do it with no hesitation. And Ty agrees to that stipulation. So I'm kind of curious, what if James tells him to kill Caroline or something, right? Is he actually going to go through with it? And then it shows Virgil at a campfire in the nighttime. And Lucas walks over. He apologizes for almost killing Virgil, blaming him for Wyatt's death. And Virgil says, let bygones be bygones, man. As Lucas walks away, Virgil pulls out of his coat pocket a letter. And then you have flashbacks. And it shows Virgil purposely being let go by the exiles at their campsite. He's in the campsite under the orders of the exiles to kill survivors one by one. So he throws that evidence in the campfire to burn it before they find it. So Virgil actually did kill Wyatt. That was neat. I wonder who Virgil's going to go after next as he kills these survivors one by one. Who's going to find out he's the killer before it's too late? What is, when Ty is, if he is miraculously cured, is he going to follow up with James's plan there to do whatever he says, or is he going to betray James? Also, what is that key that Josh found? What does that open? It has to open something. Maybe we'll find out later on, folks. The previews for next week's episode shows that it just shows people showing up at the campsite and they want this certain item. And it kind of looks like that tribe, that Pablo's tribe of people that help them want this item or something. It looks like they're members of the tribe. It could be a different tribe. I don't know. And it says a familiar face returns. And it raises a lot of questions. So maybe Levi returned for 1988 and he's helping James now, and maybe something happened. I don't know. Stay safe, everybody. Too sweet. Bye.